years ago. Doesn't make any sense to me. But last week, Tokyo Comic Con instituted a ban on crossplay, specifically on men dressing as women. The ban sparked controversy not just in Japan but especially abroad, as people disliked the double standard that there was no problem with women dressing as men.
Because they're hot.
Within the last few days, however, Tokyo Comic Con has rescinded the ban with the caveat that con badges will be gender specific.
What does that mean?
Okay, I think that means they're avoiding any confusion of like, oh, I'm safe, this person's a woman. Oh, wait, they're actually a man, and now they're going to sexually assault me. I think that is where they were going with that.
They also mentioned there will be people at entrances to bathrooms checking your con badge.
Yeah, God, this bothers me on multiple levels.
Right?
Not even just for the purpose of like for transgender people or anything like that, but just this is. I mean, it's been a thing in Japan that women dress as men and men dress as women sometimes for modeling, for cosplay, because they make a better opposite gender than the actual opposite gender sometimes. And I actually admire a lot of Japanese cosplayers who are beautifully androgynous and they can cosplay both genders. I think that's really awesome. Like, I can't ever really cosplay. I still look like a chick. It's not possible for me. But
how nice for you.
Me.
And so it's just really strange that after all the history and cosplay and modeling that they have in Japan over this. I mean, maybe there was an issue at last year's Tokyo Comic Con where there was some men disguising themselves as women and using that to take advantage of women. I mean, if that actually happened and that's the case, I could see them trying to cover their asses so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they kind of came out and said that they had a concern that there would be just a flood of middle-aged men dressed as schoolgirls. And
but if that's the case, you can tell they're a man. Like, that's not the issue. I feel like it would be the issue of like the 20-something-year-olds who can easily disguise themselves as a woman.
I see this. There's some guy who was in charge of all this is like, I don't want to accidentally hit on a guy. That's where I see that coming from. It's so weird.
But it's okay if females accidentally hit on another female when they think they're hitting on a guy.
Yeah, that's probably
like
what they're saying.
If a girl is dressed up as a guy, like, why is that okay?
And I mean, that's like,
because that's hot.
In Japanese culture, like, kabuki theater is almost always men. It's almost always men dressed as women. I believe traditionally there were no females in kabuki theater.
Yeah, nowadays not as much, but especially when it first started, absolutely there was 0 women in the kabuki theater.
Yeah, so why is it a problem in this scenario? I mean, obviously, cross-playing isn't a major issue in Japan. It's just in this aspect of it is. Why at conventions?
I'm willing to bet there was some kind of issue.
Okay.
And they're trying to cover their asses so it doesn't happen again. I bet some woman. I'm willing to bet a woman was raped or sexually assaulted at another convention. I'm honestly, because why else would you gender specific badges so that everyone can look at you and know what gender you are, so that you feel safe around them? That's the only reason I could see for such harsh like discrimination. I mean, otherwise, why would it matter? Especially after so long and in an age where people are becoming more and more accepting of gender norms and different gender norms. Like, what outside of having an issue in the past that they need to now prevent or cover their assets from happening again?
And this is where it's difficult for us in America. We are seeing transgender rights and all that start to really take center stage here. I admittedly, I don't know what that's like in Japan right now. I don't know at what point they're at with LGBT rights.
I don't either, unfortunately, but I feel like after all this time, with how much the internet blows up with women who crossplay as beautiful men and men who crossplay as beautiful women, like that after all this time, now they would impose a ban.
And especially in Japan, where the crossplayers are amazing.
Yes, which is why I feel like there had to have been an issue that they're trying to prevent from happening again to cover their asses legally.
Could be. All right,